Ho! Welcome back, gamers and gentlemen, to another episode of Gamer Culture. My name is Kuma, your host, and today we're going to be talking about emotional games. Games that made us feel the feels, whether they be sad, happy, angry, or whatever have you. Before we get too far into it, though, we're going to shoot it over to my co-host to introduce himself. He is, as always, Jeff Kibbles. How you doing, man?
Hello, everyone. I am tired. I was rushing over here. I got caught up at work later than I needed to, and I rushed here trying to beat traffic to make it in time for this recording.
You know what you got here, though, and that's the important part.
Yep, that is true. I got here.
And an always favorite guest of ours from the Zombie Corps is Captain Falco. How you doing, man?
I'm all right. Just dealing with this weather and
How is it over there for you guys? It's miserable over here. We were talking about that.
I don't know.
It's not too bad, but it's still bad enough that you're still sweating in your house.
Yeah,
Just being like, eh.
Yeah.
Yeah, gross. Yeah.
So, other than that, you streaming, hanging out,
There you go.
Good deal, man. And joining us today as well, you'll know her if you hang around the Grand Geek streams at all. Payne, how you doing today?
I'm good. Just chilling in front of my AC, like I think everyone else.
So going straight into the topic today, like I said, we're going to be talking about more emotional games. Games that had moments that hit us particularly hard, whether that be in a sad moment, a moment of joy, elation, whatever have you. I'm going to start off with probably a moment most people either kind of glance over, maybe don't think about, but it's a moment from God of War 3. I should probably say, probably going to be a lot of spoilers in this for anyone who hasn't seen these games or played these games. So my apologies for any of that. But in God of War 3, Kratos meets a young girl named Pandora.
Oh.
And Pandora's purpose is a living key for Pandora's box.
Mm-hmm.
She, much like Forky in Toy Story 4 believes he is meant for trash, Pandora believes she exists to open the Pandora's box, and that is it. Kratos, however, throughout the game, as he encounters her and they shortly travel together, he definitely starts to project fatherly feelings onto this girl. Especially since he has to kill Hephaestus, who also sees Pandora as his daughter, since he literally created her. And then towards the end of the game, she does literally sacrifice herself in the flames around the box to open it, all for nothing because there was nothing in the box anyway.
Yeah.
And the pain on Kratos' face upon realizing what she's done, trying to stop her from doing it, and then the rage that he feels when Zeus sits there mocking him that once again everything he's done has just led to failure. Now she does kind of come back in the form of this spirit that kind of guides him on, but it's still it hits so hard that here's this girl who's like a daughter now to him, and if you know anything about Kratos, spoilers on his daughter, just to have her ripped away and then brutally mocked by the being he probably hates almost as much as himself, Zeus. And that scene just, oh God, I still look at it. And the part where, she's afraid of Zeus. Now he says, he's going to hurt her. And the actor's voice cracking for a minute saying, he won't, is, oh God, it's brutal. I love it. Oh God,
I forgot.
So
about
that's my first. Yeah.
I forgot about that scene. It's like, again, I think you're right. Where it's like one of those scenes where, some people probably didn't pay attention to it. I want to say I was probably one of them. It's like I played the game. She died. I'm like, oh man, like that's sad. But at the same time, it's like I kind of figure because everyone else dies in the game. Spoiler.
Oh yeah. No, I mean it's God of War 3. Everyone dies the end, but
yeah.
Yeah, that one was brutal. So round robin, I don't want to stick on that for too long. Kibbles, what do you got for me, dude?
I don't have a lot of choices because I actually sat and thought about this for a while. I couldn't think of anything. I'm gonna pick two that come from the top of my mind, and honestly, the first one is there's multiple games like of it being added. A lot of it was um, there's 3 games in the entire thing. I'm talking about the third one because I think they did it really good. Is
Okay.
The Witcher 3 in particular is what it is. I
Okay.
I haven't played any of the Witcher games until Witcher 3, and I think that's the most case with most people is if you didn't play 1 or 2, a lot of people played 3. That was like their introduction. And
Mhm.
at the very beginning, you see Geralt looking for the sorceress Yennefer, but he's not traveling alone. He's traveling with his number one mentor, Vesemir, in that game. And you quickly begin to love this old man. He's like their dad. He raised Geralt ever since he was a child, teaching him how to be the Witcher. Like you can tell, like man, I like this old guy. Towards
God,
I
man,
think,
that's just like he's waving death flags at that point. I've never played a Witcher game, so
yeah.
but that just like I like, oh, old father figure mentor, this man gonna die.
Yeah, and then I think towards the end, I think of like the third quarter of the game, you're was it the Witcher compound gets attacked by I swear to get by the Wild Hunt, and they're like under control. They're trying to capture Ceres, because they want Ceres' blood in order to move their entire realm into Geralt's realm and take over, so that they could survive. And they almost succeed in catching Ciri, but then Vesemir comes in and he starts wailing on the Wild Hunt until one of the head generals just picks him up from his neck and just snaps his neck and lets him die.
Ugh.
And you see
Oh.
Ciri just go into absolute fit of rage. She like turns to a banshee to start screaming, and like every single like wild hunt that's like in close range is like dead. And like it's so sad because it's like, you know, this guy, he's like, again, he's like the old far figure. He's been around since like the very first Witcher game. So like people that played like 1 or 2, they probably felt it a lot more. But I feel like even in 3, if you started in 3, you still get, they've written it so well, you're super invested into Vesemir that when he dies, it's just hard because you know, like, the father figure the Witcher's ever had, they're all dead. Like, he was the last of the old guard of the Witcher way. So now it's
He's just a nice old man who kicks ass.
yeah, so now it's just like Geralt and like his 2 brothers that he, or what he calls brothers in the game.
Pourquoi? No, I hear you. Anytime you get the death of the mentor, that one always sucks.
Yeah. But it's like,
Falco, what you got, man?
I thought about it because I've had a lot of different emotional experiences with video games. A lot of happy, a lot of sad, a lot of anger at times.
Amen to that.
I think, honestly, I think one of the hardest I felt for a game was probably, I would have to go with the last bit, the very end of the Telltale's The Walking Dead.
Okay.
Where you've been Lee this whole time, protecting the little girl Clementine, and he gets bit, and throughout the episode you're slowly either turning or you're slowly either, dying of blood loss as you're trying to continue on and protect the girl. But at the very end, you're held up in this one place. It's just you and her. You are dying. And you have to make the decision and tell her either to leave you there, handcuffed to a radiator, or to have her shoot you so you don't turn into a zombie. And it's it's not just, it's your main character is gonna die, but you also have to deal with her when she's a little girl. She's like, I think she's like 8 or something in that whole thing at that time, and it's just an extremely emotional scene. Depending on what you have her do, even if you have her leave you there, it's still extremely sad, and it's still extremely it's such a hard. It's one of the very hard decisions at the end of that game, and it hurts.
Yeah,
It really hurts. Even just like in that moment, and you spend the next, few games after that, either being her or being around her or being a character next to her, and she kind of has to grow up with that feeling. I think even in the last season they did, she had like a dream where she was talking to him like on a train, which was a callback to when they were talking on the train when she was a little girl. Like it's just, it was very emotional. It was very, very hard to choose and to watch. And it was hard because I have a couple different ones, but that one was probably beats out barely some of the other ones. That one's one I was really, it was really sad, and it was really emotional.
That's one of those moments that makes you kind of you want to step away from your keyboard for a minute or put your controller down and just be like, oh God, what do I do?
And
how do I hurt myself?
It was also around the exact same time that the Walking Dead TV show was really hot, really high. Everybody was really high emotion about all that stuff. So it was a big deal. And it was just hard all the way around.
Every time. Alrighty. Payne, I believe you've got one for us as well. What you got?
Yeah, so for me, like, I get emotional about everything. But for some reason, video games, like, I never get that emotional about. So I can only think of one that actually got me, which was The Last of Us 2. Now, when I played The Last of Us 1, there was this whole build-up, and my boyfriend that I was with at the time was like, oh, you're going to love it, like, on and on about it. So I played through it, and I got to the end, and I think he was there with me, and I finished it, and I was just like, oh, okay, like, that was a cool story. And he's like, why aren't you crying? Like, are you some kind of monster? And
are you heartless?
And I didn't cry at the end of that one. I think in the first one, the only moment that kind of got me like, oh, wow, was like the giraffe scene. And like, if you played the first one, you like know about the giraffe
That's
scene.
a fucking good scene, though. That's a great scene.
But Last of Us 2, when I played it, I think it was more like I had grown connected to these characters from the first, the first story, and grown more attached to them. So going into The Last of Us 2, I kind of had that attachment. And I know there's like a lot of hate on the ending of that game, and I didn't think it was bad. I didn't like it, but I think it kind of put us in that headspace of like, you could see it from both sides. Like both of the girls' sides, and so it was kind of like pitting your inner self against, each other. But anytime there was a scene with Joel, like all of the flashback scenes, like of him taking her to the museum, like those had me choked up so much. Just like knowing that, spoiler alert, he dies, like, and then he was like such a dad to her. Like those scenes, like that's what had me going and tearing up.
Yeah.
And I was playing it on stream.
What's like,
so I'm like crying on stream.
You've got the beginning of Last of Us 1 where his daughter is killed right in front of him. And now he goes through the game and has this like surrogate daughter. And then at the beginning, like, I don't think it's at the beginning, but it's near the beginning of that game, I think. Of 2. And then Joel dies. Like, she loses her surrogate father. You're like, fuck, man. And then you get this, and then you get the infamous scene with the rabbit that makes me die of laughter every time. So it makes it a little better. But
that's a different kind of cry. You're crying out laughter.
That's tears of joy. And only because of that one streamer's reaction. I'm pretty sure we all know the one.
I don't know. Send me
Um,
later.
I will share it to you later. No, I get you, Payne. That whole and that what makes that scene so emotional is going through the first game
Mhm.
and seeing their relationship and their, you know, and it's just seeing that grow and evolve into a father-daughter relationship only for him to die in the second game.
Yeah.
And yeah, that one hits.
Yeah, and I think just like because he does die like so early into the second one, and then all those flashbacks are happening like after you already know
Mhm.
that he's gone. So like seeing all this extra
Dangling a
stuff he
fucking
did
carrot
for
in your
her,
face.
and then then being like, you know, he's dead, sucker.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Too bad. Hey, do you like that character?
I,
Remember how cool he was? Too bad he did.
yeah.
I gotta agree. You know, with the with your assessment opinion of the first one, I didn't cry at the end of that one either.
I cried a little bit. I mean, I cried a little
I
bit.
would
But then
no,
again,
I would
I
I
pay.
had a different emotion. I was frustrated. I was actually kind of angry because
No, I
to
get it. I
me
get it.
that ending, the ending in the first one, is very conflicting. It doesn't really make me happy or sad. It makes me more frustrated to see Joel possibly,
Killed
you
it
know,
at times
damn the whole
too.
race for one girl. I get it, but it's still kind of
Fucked up.
bad. And I always kind of stand firm on that I never, that some people have actually given me uh angry things about it. I've said it before. I don't think Joel was necessarily the greatest person.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
No one in that game is supposed to be a great
I was gonna
person.
be like, I don't think anyone in that game
No
is really
one
great.
I've had
is.
someone try and argue with me that he did the right thing because he was, you know, he was being like her father thing. I'm like, yeah, but he was
Yeah, but
like,
he didn't
you
want
see
her in
his
the
background.
first place.
Well, not only that, but like you hear about his background, how he was a, you know, he used to do the crappy things that the other Raider guys were doing. He knows their tricks, you know.
Mm.
At the same time, like he didn't want her around. He's been a pain in the ass through the whole game, and at the end, he finally gets it, and then, you know, he kills a lot of people to save her. And I get trying to save
Mhm.
her, but damn, it's just like it's left me conflicted.
Yeah. Yeah, the one good person in that game was Sarah, and she died, which, you know, death of innocence and imagery and all that. Even Ellie wasn't great, but my next one is another one that I challenge anyone to include on their list. Is from Ace Combat 4 Shattered Skies. Anyone played it?
No.
Maybe like a while ago, like a long time ago.
I say PS2 era, so
Yeah,
at least
then
10
that would
years.
possibly be.
So, if you don't know the story of Ace Combat 4, there's basically two stories going on. There's a story that you're actually playing through, um, and the whenever you end a mission, you get a bit of narration from a young boy on the other side of the military conflict that you're playing in. And this young boy is walking home from school one day, and a plane literally falls out of the sky and falls on his family house, killing his parents.
So like Donnie Darko.
And it straight up. And
Jeez, all right.
he sees the plane that did it, and it's a squadron of plane called Yellow Squadron. And through a series of events, he actually ends up playing harmonica to make money in a bar that Yellow Squadron frequents. And there's two particular characters, Yellow 13 and Yellow 4. Yellow 13 is the leader of the squadron, young man, hotshot pilot, and Yellow 4 is a young woman who is his wingman. And she's also like bodyguard, close friend, kind of implied love interest. They never quite go that far, but she's definitely a very close friend who looks out for him. Almost like the Mikasa to his Eren. And as you play through the game, you have three encounters with Yellow Squadron. The first time you run away, the second time you actually engage them, and you actually shoot down Yellow 4. And the narration after that it's really emotional because you've got Yellow 13, who is so close to her, and the young boy who slowly grew close to all of them. Yellow 13 kind of lapses into a narration about how, how they met and grew close, and wasn't really saying it to the boy, more like just saying it so that it's heard and that her memory is remembered. And then second to last mission of the game, you encounter Yellow Squadron again and you shoot them all down. It's a real tough fight. Very tough fight. They're very hard to hit. They dodge. They're really quick, but you eventually shoot down Yellow 13. And it's really tough on the narrator because now this is almost like the second family he's lost. And I remember playing through the games being like, understanding that this game it really makes you feel like, oh, you're playing Mobius 1, hotshot rookie pilot who's actually really fucking good, and you're shooting down the bad guys, and then but all the narration is actually for the other side of the story. And as you're playing through it, you realize you're going to have to encounter the Yellow Squadron again. You're going to have to shoot them down. You're going to have to kill this boy's family. And I remember when you finally do it and you shoot down Yellow 13 and they play this mission where the young boy, he's in the town. He sees Yellow 13 go down. He sees the handkerchief that Yellow 13 had gotten from Yellow 4 flutter to the ground. He finds it. He buries it. And I remember just this melancholy feeling, like you're supposed to feel like, God, I just won. That was great. But you don't feel good. It's almost like I felt hollow. And it was probably one of the few times where I felt bad about, and it's a game. I had to do it. There's no other way to do it. There's no other way to progress, but you don't feel good about having to do it. And I still look back on that Ace Combat 4. I still hold has an amazing story for a game that does not deserve an amazing story. But yeah, that's mine. Ace Combat 4, The Death of Yellow Squadron. That one hurt. Yeah. Moving on. Kibbles, get me out of this. What do you got, man?
For me, I can only think of two in recent memories. So I already said one. Another one is actually two deaths in this game that made me very sad. And they both happened like one right after another. It was Red Dead Redemption 2.
Hit me. Oh,
and
God. Oh, no.
It's not the ending. It's not the ending that everyone is super sad about. Like everyone's like, "Oh man, the ending was so sad." Where people think we're crying.
My girlfriend has not finished that game because she knows the ending. She refuses to finish the game because she says if she doesn't finish it, it doesn't happen.
I can see your logic. I think I don't know what happened. I know like someone spoiled the ending for me like very early, like right when the game came out.
Oh.
So like I already knew the ending was going to happen, but this is like I think I want to say towards the end of the halfway point of the game. I want to say is you're in Saint Denis with the rest of your crew, and you're about to rob a bank.
Oh no!
And you end up robbing this bank. You end up sending Jose out as like part of the distraction team to go distract the cops. And while he's just like, you all wait there for a while and you hear a big boom and like, okay, that's the signal. Let's go in and rob the bank. So you end up going in, you rob the bank, but then like towards the end, there's like a cutscene. And then all of a sudden it is, what is it? You're surrounded outside by not only the cops, but also the Pinkerton squad. And what ended up happening is they capture Hosea. And they're like, Dutch is out there trying to negotiate. Like, come on, we can negotiate. And Pinkerton's like, you had your chance, and pushes Hosea out into the middle of the road. And like he's like two slow steps forward before slowly turning around. And then Agent Milton, who's the guy in charge, fucking shoots him like he's a dog. And you just see Hosea like fall to the ground. And it's just like gasping for the last breath of air until he finally stopped moving. And I'm like, oh. Hosea was also like your kind of dad type in there. Like he was the oldest member of the group. So like he was like everyone's like grandfather in a way, if that makes sense, or dad. Like he was like
Yeah.
the old man that everyone listens to, like the wise guy who actually made sense. He was like the last thing, especially for Dutch. He was like the last like voice of reason in the entire like gang. But
Mhm.
he was a shot down like a dog, and I'm like, I was hurt because like I knew it was going to happen. I just it went down in a much better way. Of like, fuck, man. It's like he could have gone down bad. Like I knew he was going to die,
Yeah.
but not like this.
He might have deserved to die, but not like that. Yeah.
No, I thought he was going to like somehow he escapes and just retires and dies of old age. But after that, it breaks into this radical gunfight, and like you're killing everyone, and then eventually like you end up putting dynamite on like the wall of the bank, blowing up the dynamite, making a hole, and you climb yourself to the next building's roof, kill more people, and the rest of the gang shows up, and then you're like, okay, we gotta escape, and Lenny, oh, he's like the youngest person in the group too,
Oh no.
next to little Jack, who's like 5 years old.
Listening to Falco slowly die.
It's like Lenny's like the youngest. He's like, you had so much fun activities. You're thinking like, who can forget the bar night with Lenny, where you just go out and get shit faced with Lenny, and then you all have a great time. But he ends up running ahead, and then suddenly like he turns around and like looks at Arthur. Like, Arthur, I think it's this way. But then like you see behind him are cops coming out. And immediately, as soon as Letty turns around, just shot straight in the face and then dies. And you do your quick draw and kill the cops, but it wasn't quick enough. And Lenny is just dead as well. I'm like, two of my favorite characters in this fucking game are now dead. And that was so brutal because it's like literally one right after another. I'm like, why? I'm like, I wanted Lenny. I'm like, I was hoping like if Jose died, I'm like, at least let Lenny get out. I want like he had they built so much like, man, you're too young for this shit. Like you can do better than the rest of us.
Yeah.
You can get out of here. You can be smarter. Like you're younger, you're smarter.
Nope.
You can get out of this fucking, and then he just dies. I'm like, oh my god. It's like, I know this is gonna be sad. Yeah, and like a dog too. I'm like,
no matter how fast, no matter how quick you are, no matter how quick you get in front of him,
you'll never.
There is no way to stop those cops from killing him.
Yep.
Yeah,
I've tried
plot bullets.
I've tried anyway, and it just doesn't. There's no way.
Yeah, I was like so sad. I was like, it wasn't even the death. That was the saddest part. Like not like the utter death. That's the main reason everyone cries. Like that's sad too. Like. I found that sad, but like I knew that was coming. Those two, I did not. I'm like, I was so upset with that.
Yeah. Alrighty. Falco, after that trip down memory kill me road, what do you got, man?
I'm going to take you to a game you've probably never heard of before. It's called Red Dead Redemption 1.
Hit me.
I was literally about to bring this up. It's like when he's at plot bullets.
That's a sequel to 2, right?
It's. I mean, technically
technically
it is actually.
Yes.
Because the events of Red Dead Redemption 1 happened before, or sorry, after Red Dead 2.
Red Dead 2. Red Dead 2 is the prequel.
Yes, I'm well aware. Trust me.
I know.
The Red Dead 1 has so many interesting and emotional moments in it as well. Especially looking back at it now, and not knowing any of, like, going into Red Dead 2, you had kind of an idea because you knew what happened enough from what John had said in the first one, and you knew there was a gang, and you knew it fell apart, and Dutch went crazy, and everybody else, kind of broke off. So you kind of had an idea. But when you played that first one, you really didn't have any idea. You just kind of, went through it. And some of the times in there is you get emotional. Like the first time you go to Mexico and you have to now go track one-year-old gang members down in Mexico after you thought you had them, and you're so far away from home, and the music plays, and it's just this weird emotional ride as you ride into the country. And then another time is after you get rid of Dutch and you're going back home to your family, and that plays another emotional song
Yeah,
that I really like.
it's like right
And
there. It's like it's all over.
I honestly think that would have been an even better. I honestly like that one better than the one in Mexico. A lot of people like the one in Mexico better, but I like that one better. Although it might also be because when you're doing the ride back to your home, there's a bear that shows up, and you either notice the bear or you don't. And
Wait,
if
there's a
you,
bear?
yeah, there's a bear that shows up and tries to eat you. If you get lucky and you don't notice it and you just kind of ride past it, you don't even know. Otherwise, you're like me who got tackled by the thing
Oh,
mid
see,
mid emotional song on the way home.
I was
And
the opposite.
apparently, I was
I didn't
apparently
notice a bear. I played the game like years ago, and I didn't
I-
notice a bear. So I'm like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah, no, trust me, it's there. I'm also not the only one that's encountered it. And it's literally, I think on I think if you go onto YouTube and you pull up the song, it literally says there's two people in this world: the people that got the people that noticed the bear and the people that didn't. You know. But the most emotional thing I think in that whole thing is finally John goes home. He has his wife and his kid. You play like 6 missions where it's just him being
like a
husband.
rancher.
Yeah, and being
And,
a nice rancher, a nice happy thing, and then they show back up, and now they've come to kill you, and it's like, of course they did, and you fight him so well, fight him so hard, you lose uncle, but you're going, and then
plot bullets.
and then you get to the barn, and he sends Abigail on her way. He says, "I'll be right behind you." But he knows he's not, and you get ready and you push the barn doors open, and no matter how many bullets you got in your pistol, there's not enough quick draw that slow time event to shoot any of them fast enough. You think you get 1 or 2 before you go down in a hail of bullets, and it's such an emotional shock, and it's like you're like first pushing out of the barn, you're like, all right, maybe before you actually see how many people are really out there, like you kind of get a little glimpse of it when he peeks through the hole, but then you're the character, you're like, all right, let's do this, and you push the barn door open, you realize you're like, oh my god, there's too
a
many
losing
of them.
fight, yeah.
And then he dies, and you deal with that, and then you it's a couple of years later, and now you're Jack, and you gotta go find Ross to go basically get revenge, which is it hit so hard back then, and it kind of almost hits even more hard now, because that whole gang, all they ever wanted was to protect Jack, and basically when it came down to it, a lot of the people in the gang, including Arthur, even people at times like Dutch and whatnot, when everybody wasn't completely insane, Jack and Abigail wanted to protect Jack and didn't, or John and Abigail wanted to protect Jack and didn't want him to turn into an outlaw cowboy like they were, and no matter what, in the end he does. Just so
cycle continues.
And the cycle continues, and the whole thing is just very. Back then it was hard, and back then it was hard hitting, between the sad, the shock, and just the frustration and anger for the douchebag Ross. So much so that I think the first time I saw him in Red Dead 2, I was immediately just blood boiling. So I like the perfect ending the perfect ending for John, at least, is to play Red Dead 2 and then get to the prologue and get to where he gets the house and then never play 1. So he's just always normal rancher.
He's always there.
That never goes and does. Yeah, there it is. People were like, oh, the prologue was boring. It's like, no. He gets to live now.
Okay,
let him live.
Yeah. My issue with the prologue was it wasn't boring. I was not expecting it 6 hours long. That was my issue. I did not.
That's the thing, is that it basically does the end before the army shows up at the first one, where it's more remedial, like little jobs and stuff that are kind of fun, but in the original one, it's like 6 missions and they're only like a couple minutes apiece, and you go through them. Well, in this one, yeah, it's 2 parts, and other than a mission at the very beginning of it and the mission and the like last 2 missions at the very end of it, all of them are pretty like tame and calm. The very last mission is beautiful in Red Dead 2. But yeah, so that's what you got to do. At least John and them do okay then.
But you get great montages in Red Dead 2.
Amen. So, Payne, now that we've gone around, have you thought another one up? Something that hurt, something that felt good?
I mean, honestly, no. Like, I don't know. Like, I think like I play video
My
games
gaming career
for
has
like
been meaningless, and
my analytical side, I guess. Like, or I just can't take them serious. I don't know what it is. Like, I love
empathy.
playing video games.
She has
But
no
like,
empathy. That's
I
why
was
her name's
talking.
Pain.
I remember when Tyler was like asking me about being on this episode, and he was like, "Oh, what about like the Dark Pictures games?" And I'm like, "No, like I purposely try and kill people in those games."
Jeez.
fuck.
So,
All right,
I'm
well,
not sure I want to see it. I'm not sure I want to see your run of Until Dawn. Jesus. Probably
this,
yeah,
So-
like
and this is why
when
her
I
nickname's
played-
Pain.
when I played Until Dawn on stream, it was like my chat hated like one of the girls. So I was like, "All right, let's try and get her killed."
Was
Like,
it
do
Emily? It was Emily, wasn't it?
is she the? Wait, no, Emily's the one that looks like Aubrey Plaza.
This is the
Right?
blonde one. It's the blonde.
Emily was the black haired.
Yeah,
Asian
not her.
girl.
No, it was the
Yeah.
blonde chick that is
yeah,
like
she
the
Really?
new girlfriend.
Really? Emily's like she's mean. To
Emily's
everybody.
annoying too, but like we wanted that blonde chick out.
Oh, you're talking about
Oh, you
Jessica,
want-
the one that gets pulled out through the window at the very beginning.
Yeah, that's what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Fun.
By the way, shout out to that not killing her right there.
Oh
She
yeah,
almo-
dude.
Well, right
so
after
what we've
that.
learned,
You
well,
can bend your body.
so what we've learned is a complete lack of empathy and the enjoying of murder. Payne is actually a sociopath.
I think
Again.
you know what I think it is like psychologically is that I am a very like I said, I'm very emotional, I'm very empathetic. But I think
I
like
don't
when I go to
believe
video
that.
games,
You
that's
prove-
not
you-
what I'm going there for.
You're definitely proving it right now.
Again, this is why her
I
nickname
feel-
is Pain.
Like, guys, no, I feel completely deeply until I'm given the option to murder. Then I feel nothing. Alrighty, well, I think we have time for one more go around, and we'll try and make this one quick because I know we've already gone over my recordings at 40 minutes, so we're probably
Yeah,
closer
my
to like
recording's
35 or
at like
30.
40 as well.
So my last one, and actually, you know what? I'm just going to throw this one out there just as a quick mention because it needs to be mentioned. Shadow of the Colossus, the apparent death of Agra, the horse. Because if anyone's played it, you know Agra does not actually die. But in the moment, you don't know it when that fucking horse is falling off the bridge. You don't know that, and it hurts. It hurt you. It hurt me. It hurt all of you. I know it. All right, Payne. Jesus.
No, that was me.
No,
I
that's
know.
not.
No, okay, so my final one is a character death from Dot Hack GU. I love the Dot Hack series. I loved Dot Hack GU. And its remake, the 3-pack with the bonus episode Last Recode. But in Dot Hack GU Reminisce, which is the second game in this series, there's a character that you've been playing with named Alcade. And Alcade starts out, she's very much the tsundere. Maybe not even that, because she's very much the tomboy of the group, or kind of your little friend group that you end up building. At first she hates you, because the guy that you beat to win your title in the arena was like her senpai. She freaking loved that guy. They had a close relation, and you beat him, and she is convinced you cheated to do it. Which, not gonna lie, for story reasons, kind of true, but she hates you at the beginning and ends up joining you, and you get closer, you become better friends. And then she says, hey, meet up with me at this one zone, and before you can get there, she gets attacked and killed. Her player, keep in mind, if you don't know dot hack, you're playing a character playing an MMO. Her character gets attacked and killed by this virus, where if your character gets killed by the virus, you go into a coma. And she gets attacked and killed, and you show up right as she's like dematerializing. You hold her in her arms long enough for her to be like, be strong, my dude. And then she vanishes. She does not come back until the end of the next game. So you could have been putting all this effort into leveling her, bringing her along on parties, giving her equipment, and none of it matters because partway through the game, she dies and you do not get her back till the end of the third game. If you load your save from the second game to the third game, she's whatever level with whatever equipment she was when she quote unquote died. But when I was playing those games, when I was first playing them, it was one of the first series I'd ever played where the other games weren't out yet. Because at the time I was still a little younger. I was playing games that had been out for a while, or I was playing games that didn't really have a series. And playing .hack GU2 Reminisce killed because I am a big Alcade fanboy. She was tomboy waifu to me. Loved the character. And then you lose her to this psychotic witch of a character. And it felt good putting that character in the dirt. But God, I remember I didn't want to pick up the game after that, especially when I went to the third game and went through the whole game with no Alcade. Oh, I was pissed. I was like, did we really just hard kill her? Because it's real. You have to beat the third game to get Alcade back. And it fucking sucked. Because there's other characters you lose in that game. I think though she's the only one on your character's friend list that you can bring around and play with that dies for any significant amount of time. And that fucking hurt. So that one's mine. I went on a little longer than I should have. But we'll kick it over to Kibbles. What's your final one, buddy?
Final one. It's a weird one because it's nobody dies, but it's the act of. I played this when I was like a teenager, and it's a weird one. I gotta say, it was GTA San Andreas. When you're playing it,
kicking it old school, like
yeah, it's So you play as GJ, who comes back to town, and like after like the death of your mother, and then you meet up with your brother, and then you meet up with two particular characters called Ryder and Big Smoke. Big Smoke, I fucking liked it. It was and then you do shit together. You do drive-bys. You go to the chicken cluck and two number 9s. Allah's number 9. But it's like partway through the meeting or through the game, you end up getting betrayed. And for me, that was the one part, for some reason, as a kid, that actually made me cry a bit. It's like what happened? And then you realize you were betrayed by Big Smoke and Ryder. I'm like, I thought we were homies, bruh. Why the fuck you do this to me? Why do you betray me? And then I was like, I couldn't understand it. And I was upset. I'm like, why would they do this to me? And then as the game goes on, you hunt them down. And even then, you kill Ryder, I think halfway through the game. But then I even still felt bad. Man, I wish I didn't have to kill that man. I liked him as a character. Didn't want to kill Ryder. Yeah. And then
don't make me put him down, Pa.
Yeah, and then at towards the end of the game, you kill Big Smoke. I'm like, fucking man. It's dude, they made it where even though they betrayed you, you still love the two. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, man. It's I had to kill two of my best friends in this game, all because of
it's the meme loading the shotgun. Yeah. Shame.
Yeah, it's because of some corrupt cop that's in the game pulling all the strings. Really.
Mm-hmm.
I was bummed. Yep. I'm obviously it wasn't death, but it was more just the act of their betrayal that made me upset in that game. I know it's weird, but for me, that I was upset about that in that game. It's
shit hurts.
Yeah, it sure, because again, you did a lot of shit. You sold weed with each other. Again, you went to
That's what
shucking
brings you
for
together
food.
right there.
Yeah, selling weeds and drive-by and ordering 2 number 9s.
So
But no, it's like,
drugs, guns, and eating.
yeah, bro, that's all you need. That's what you homies need. But dude, yeah, it was like I was just upset by betrayal in the
If
game.
we were monetized, we'd be so demonetized.
We knew we were never getting monetized for this. But yeah, it was like we do not advocate any of those things except eating. I don't care. You can eat as much as you want.
Eat away. Eat all the things.
Yeah, you know the things. But yeah,
None of the other two.
But yeah, that for me, that was a sad moment as a kid, growing up. I think it was like 13 or something when I was playing it. I was upset by that. I was like, I couldn't understand why two friends that like I think they were like even like considered like childhood friends that they would do that to you. I was just upset.
My last one, is always and will be, as far as emotional goes, is Metal Gear Solid 3, and having to shoot the boss, and having to find out that she was really just doing what her job was, and just feeling like total utter shit afterwards for having to.
Like, oh no, I'm garbage.
Oh Jesus!
Oh no.
I think he's trapped in another dimension.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the fighting the boss and having to stop her and kill her, and then finding out afterwards that she was just doing her job and she was doing it for your country, and just feeling like complete asshole afterwards. It sucks. It feels bad.
Yeah.
It feels bad, man. It feels real bad.
Oh, dude, I can imagine, bro. It's like you thought she was one way, but really she was the hero all along.
I think the first time I ever did that, I actually, the first time I ever played that, I don't think it hit me quite all the way. I was still kind of in shock. It's the second time I went through it that I really realized just how much it hurt, just how much emotional it was.
Well, so last chance, Payne, you got anything? How do you feel about the ha 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 scene in Final Fantasy X?
I have not played any Final Fantasies.
Oh my god, you're killing me.
No weebs, no anime. No, I'm just kidding. No, I haven't. I play World of Warcraft.
Okay.
Stop.
All right, let me see.
Please stop.
What were your feelings when Sylvanas dropped the Lich King like a bitch at the beginning of the new expansion?
I mean, I was like a little shocked, I guess. I don't know. I think like I really like the way the story is played out, honestly. I don't think people are happy with the end of this raid, which I agree with them. But yeah, I mean, I feel like okay, I got one. So the start of this most recent patch, the scene where Tyrande and Sylvanas are fighting.
Like, I'll believe you. I have not played WoW in probably 2 years.
It's really cool. Cinematic. Check it out. They're fighting inside of, I think in the Night Fae area in Ardenweald. But like, man, that made me feel things. Tyrande is a very, very fine lady. And then she's fighting with Sylvanas, who's like an almost equally fine lady.
I think these are the wrong feelings. I think she's going with different feelings.
You asked.
I don't know. I'm catching feelings. Let me tell you.
Go on.
So I have a legit question for you, Payne. So again, I quit WoW about 2 years ago. I recognized that WoW was a problem for me. Even talking about WoW or like legit. I mean, I
know
think
people
about,
for sure that are like that.
I think about WoW now, and my heart rate increases, my hands shake. It's like I was legitimately addicted. Like when I hear about it now, I get withdrawal symptoms. I have to watch Hiruma Red X videos, his various lists, like almost like a nicotine patch. Like I wish I was joking more, but the last time I saw Tyrande was her basically invoking Elune to become like, I don't know what the lore is, but basically like a more badass night elf. And that's the last time I saw her. Is this the first time we've seen her in a major cinematic since getting that power boost?
I think so, because she tries to use it on Sylvanas and it like fails. And then Sylvanas is like, Your
Say,
God
plot
can't
armor.
save you,
Ugh.
lady. Dude, yeah, Sylvana's got ultimate plot armor. I mean, I'm pretty sure if anyone plays WoW, they already know this, but like, she doesn't die at the end of the raid when you're fighting to kill her. She's the main boss of the raid and doesn't actually die in the end.
Sylvanas' tagline is just Sylvanas didn't die. Like that's half of her lore right there. And Sylvanas didn't actually die. Like they don't know what they want to do with her. Sometimes she's a villain, sometimes she's a hero, sometimes she's like a dark hero, sometimes she's a conflicted villain. Sometimes there's whole plot lines where they're like, you get halfway through and then they abandon it. Fucking looking at you, Legion. But yeah, that one was weird. I love the lore of WoW and I love watching the cinematics, but I just can't play it. It's a legit problem. Like, which sucks because in watching the lore, I'm like, I want to play, but I can't.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, that's everyone. Thank you everyone for being here and sharing all of your awesome game stories. I really appreciate it. Don't forget, you can find all of Gamer Culture content over on gamerculture.com, where we have a huge backlog of articles, reviews, and videos. You can also see all of our videos right here on a Gamer Culture channel on YouTube. You can find us over on Twitter and on Instagram and on Facebook. That is Gamer Culture, one word, culture with a K. And Kibbles, where can they find you, my dude?
You can find me on Instagram at Kibbles Plays. You can also find me on the YouTube channel Gamer Culture and other Gamer Culture episodes.
Awesome, brother. Falco, where can they find you, man?
They can find me on YouTube as Zombiecore, where me and another guy named Zombiecore we're together on our channel. You can also find me on Twitch as Captain Falco ZC. And you can find me on other episodes of the Gamer Culture as well, since I'm on a bunch of these.
Hell yeah, you are. Like unofficial third host.
Basically.
And Payne, where can people go if they want to hang out with you?
You can find me most nights at twitch.tv/Payne Gretzky, just like the hockey player, but with pain. And
So
and yeah,
just
all
like
my
the hockey
social
player.
medias are Payne Gretzky, so it's pretty easy to find.
Good deal. Well, thank you very much for being with us here today. We really appreciate it. Everyone, thank you very much for watching today. Don't forget to check out all of the network's offerings over at grandgeeks.com. Stay cultured and see ya.
Bye-bye.